It's a war of words between two veteran journalists, Subhash K Jha, who describes himself as someone who has been writing about Bollywood for long enough to know the industry inside out, and the other is Shobha, the highly opinionated novelist and columnist who often rakes up a storm with her fiery words, and this time she has done so by calling Lata Mangeshkar a gambler. Yes, the headline of her opinion piece in the week on the legendary singer reads Shobha on Lata Mangeshkar's fondness for gambling. Lata frequently visited casinos in Las Vegas. The piece that was published on 20th of February starts with Shobha describing Lata Mangeshkar's voice as the voice of an angel, a celestial being, adding that she had a unique divine quality to her singing that made her an unmatched phenomenon. Then she calls her voice innocent, playful, pure voice of a pre-pubescent girl, thin and delicate, teasing and hesitant. Nobody could believe a woman in her 70s could croon a tender love song and sound like a 17-year-old. Then she goes on to admit that she did not know Lata Mangeshkar the legend and was more in touch with her sister Asha Bhosle, who had once regaled her over dinner where she had cooked her famous kebabs in her kitchen, she says, with perfect imitations of her Thai, down to her baby voice, mannerisms and body language. Shobha clarifies the mimicry was not mean or cruel, but it did provide a glimpse into the decades-long sibling rivalry that insiders often talk about. Then, adding some more fuel to the infamous sibling rivalry between Lata and Asha, Shobha declares, Asha is far more real and earthy, and frankly, I prefer her voice and versatility as a vocalist. She says those who are close to Didi say that she had a terrific sense of humor besides a phenomenal memory, but the public persona remained aloof and distant, letting her songs create all the magic. And then Shobha pulls out the rabbit out of the hat by writing, what few people outside her inner circle knew about Lata was her fondness for gambling. I hear she was a frequent and valued high roller at casinos in Las Vegas. Only the BBC report on her passing made a reference to it. Frankly, it is hard to visualize the diminutive, demure lady in white, she says, playing blackjack, but if true, it humanizes her that much more. She then quickly moves on in her article describing how Lata Mangeshkar inspired Raj Kapoor to immortalize Ladies in White and how she often heard Lata Didi's voice echoing through the busy bylanes of Pakistan and how she was compared with Pakistan's own legendary singer Noor Jahan. Before closing her op-ed, Shobha goes on to describe Lata Mangeshkar as a one-take artist who never hit a false note but ends it with a cheeky mention of the controversial Pedder Road flyover that never came up because Lata Mangeshkar put her weight behind the protest. But all of this aside, the fact is that she did call Lata Mangeshkar a gambler from just hearsay, and that hasn't gone down well with Lata's self-proclaimed Bhakt Subhash K Jha, who writes this in response to Shobha's saucy tribute. Dear Shobha, Lata Mangeshkar wasn't a gambler. She never stepped foot into a casino. Did you see Lata Mangeshkar gambling in Las Vegas? I did not. Nobody did. Do you know why? Because she never visited a casino in her life to gamble. How do I know? Because she told me so. Yes, this is a fuming reply from Subhash K Jha, who opens his piece by telling Shobha, it seems you are not a fan of Lata Mangeshkar. I read with growing amusement, exasperation and rage your tribute to the voice that defines India. For once, I hoped you would surprise me by actually agreeing with the majority view. But no, of course not. You have to be different. That has always been your USP. So instead of talking about Lata Mangeshkar, the goddess of melody, you speak about how she, excuse me while I chuckle, liked to gamble in casinos of Las Vegas. This after declaring that you had never met Lata Mangeshkar. And then he sonaus her a lot more curry khoti for preferring Asha Bhosle over Lata Didi. Asha Bhosle is a fine singer, he writes, but to compare her with Lata Mangeshkar is something that even she wouldn't dare to do. I understand Asha Bhosle has extended hospitality to you, fed you food made by her. Lata Mangeshkar was not into ingratiating herself to influential media persons. She never cared to suck up to anyone, not even when she was a 13-year-old looking for a job as a singer. Then giving it off to Shobha for saying that Lata Didi gambled, Subhash K Jha says, she never stepped foot into a casino, and with due respect, I would rather believe her than you. She does not need to lie. As for us media persons, we thrive on it, don't we? He asks as a matter of fact. The audience can answer this for me. So where did this rude myth that Lata Didi was a gambler originate from? I will tell you. Subhash K Jha says it came from a biography by a self-important, self-styled, know-it-all, zilch validity biography for which he had approached Lata Mangeshkar, who had politely declined the offer to be enshrined in the genius's book tomb. The author of this biography decided to have his revenge by writing a muckraker. Then he says it was what Mahatma Gandhi had described Catherine Mayo's Mother India as a drain inspector's report. He also asked Shobha, "You do know who Mahatma Gandhi was, don't you?" Then calling Shobha a drain inspector, that literally translates into gutter nirikshak, he further goes on to write, Lata Mangeshkar is a true Mother India, and no drain inspector's report on her makes a jot of a difference. It is like spitting at the moon. We worship her in our homes like we worship Durga Ma. She is strength, she is glory, she is all things that make life worth living. She is what we all want our daughters to be. And no, she is not a gambler. We, her bugs, give her the same status as God. Any attempts to bring her down amounts to blasphemy and sedition, he says. He even takes on her for calling Lata's voice, that of a pre-pubescent girl, thin and delicate. Pre-pubescent, teasing and hesitant? Seriously? He asks her. Are you sure you have not mistaken some Indian Idol contestant's voice for Lata Mangeshkar? He then goes on to remind Shobha some of Lata Didi's iconic songs from Baahon Mein Chale Aao to a more recent one like Honton Pe Bas Tera Naam Hai from Ye Dil Lagi. Have you heard these? He asks her, and then himself answers, no, you are busy enjoying the younger sister's perfect imitations of her thigh. He ends his fierce reply with a line that reads, Lata Mangeshkar never had a word to say against anyone who maligned her, mimicked her, ridiculed her. She forgave them all. She would have forgiven you too. Well, so far there is no response from Shobha on this piece that clearly doesn't add any Shobha to the pristine image of the Nightingale of India, who is no longer between us. But what are your thoughts on these two shockingly scathing articles by the two Patrakars and Lekhaks, who seem to know the Mangeshkar sisters in their own way? Let me know in the comments. And also, let us all know if you have used the It Really Works vitamins for hair that I have been recommending often on my channel. Let the people know how you are benefiting from it, because I surely have got back the lost volume on my hair, especially in the crown area. You all know it by now. That this is the only channel where you can get a full 40% off on its supply, and trust me, this is a great deal. It's an expensive item, and this 40% is almost like half price off. So please take it till it's on. The direct link to order is in the description. Whether you're a man or a woman, go for it if you think that you have hair thinning or hair loss problems, or else just ignore it, like when Shobha ignored Sonam Kapoor when she called her a fossil who is going through menopause and doesn't get any action. Connect with me on Instagram, Facebook and on Twitter. It's @ReviewRon and @Ronak Kotecha on Twitter. You can of course like, share, subscribe and hit the bell icon if you've already done that. But as always, even if you don't do any of these things, including not even checking out It Really Works offer, it's okay. Just thank you so much for watching this one. Please take care of yourself and those around you. Jai Hind.